about relational health, aka your relationships. And your relationships are really important. We're going to kind of step through some very frank ways that you know that you're in and a part of a healthy relationship. Now, when I talk about relationship, I'm not talking about specifically dating. I'm not talking specifically about friendships. I'm not specifically talking about like parent to you. I'm talking about all relationships, how they're defined. All healthy relationships, whether it's one of those three, have some of the same critical parts. Okay? But the first thing is, why is it important that we even care about our relationships? I think this is something that we've said a lot here, but I think it's something that's worth saying again. We're going to be stepping through Proverbs. There's a lot of Proverbs verses for tonight. And this is the first one, and it says this. It says, walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble. This is our first one. So why is it important who we have relationships with? Why is it important who our friends are, who we date? Now, we really don't have a lot of choice about family relationships. Those are kind of there, and but why is it important? It's important because who you're around is who you become. The people that you're around, that's the direction you're going to go. I'm really excited about October because fall. Also because of leaves turning in other parts of the state, not really here. But one of the things I really do like, and please don't judge me, is that October is Harry Potter month for me and my wife. Now the reason I say this is that it's a tradition that every October we watch through the whole series, all 8 movies. We don't read the books because, Teresa did once. But we watch these movies, and I find something about whenever I'm watching this is usually about movie 4, Goblet of Fire. By this time, I start speaking with a British accent. I start thinking, oh, Harry Potter, oh, you have your mother's eyes, and you're like, oh, whatever. But I watch it so much that I start finding myself saying rubbish. I don't ever say rubbish, but it's a part of me. It's what I'm putting in. It's what I'm being around. And suddenly, I'm sitting here talking in a horrible English accent as one you happily told me last Wednesday. So not pointing out any names. Looking back there. All right. But it happens because it's what I put myself around. And it's the same for you. No one is immune to this, right? If your friends are all about one thing, if they have a certain joke they repeat, if there's a certain inside thing, you're going to be doing it. If your friends have a certain style that they like to wear, more than likely you're going to drift that way. It's like a law of physics. It's going to happen. It's not a law of physics for those who are in physics. Please don't hold me to that. But you know what I'm saying. It's something that absolutely affects you. So when we're talking about having healthy relationships, we're talking about, how we go about making sure they're good. First things first, I'm a realist. Second is that you've got to make sure that the places and the people you're around, I know, my cultural references are like a year or 2 old, so it's okay. But you got to make sure the people you're around are people that you want to be more like. Because that's going to set, no matter how good a relationship it is, if they're taking you down a wrong path, then they're taking you down a wrong path, and it doesn't matter how healthy the relationship is. Okay? So that's our first thing I want to talk about. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to break it down to what makes healthy relationships, like each part, all right? So our first part is good communication. How many of you communicate pretty gooder than most others? Right? Okay, how many of you are like, I hate talking to people? Right? How many of you are like, I'm not raising my hand because I hate raising my hand? Okay, no. Yeah, there we go. Now, good communication, being able to express what you feel and all that, and being able to make this swap of ideas is very important. Our Bible verse for this comes from Proverbs 18:13. It says this. It says, spouting off before listening to the facts is both shameful and foolish. Now, why do I bring this up with communication? Communication is not one way. How many of you have somebody that you see them coming and you go, oh man, this is going to be 10 minutes. You know what I'm talking about? You know, how many, I know, I'm sorry, that was a rhetorical one. Let's put their hands down. Okay, and don't look at anybody. Don't look at me. Like, there's some people who come up who are really good at one-side communication. Like they come up and they're just like, they are ready and prepared with all their words for the day and they're coming for you. So they come in and they're just talking to you, and you're listening, you're smiling. Sometimes you're not there. You know, sometimes you're thinking about, you know, The Walking Dead coming on at like 8:30 or The Fear of the Walking Dead. I think that's what's coming on tonight. You know, you're thinking about, some of you are thinking about that right now. But you're not communicating. Communication is this two-way street, and it's super, super important. In all relationships, in parent-child relationships, in girlfriend-boyfriend, incredibly important. Incredibly important in girlfriend-boyfriend relationships, all right? It's hugely important. And if you have a best friend, it's really critical as well. With your friendships, communication is absolutely key. Why is this? Because when you're communicating, you're able to bounce ideas off each other. You're able to talk about things. You're able to hear what they have to say, hear what you have to say, see if your idea is dumb or not. How many of you have ever just spouted out a really dumb idea and you had a good friend who told you, that's a horrible idea, right? And maybe not horrible like you're going to go play in traffic, but you're like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm gonna go and dig a ditch. And they're like, why? That makes no sense. I love it. I love the communication going on right now, but I need you to focus on me. All right. So, communication is key. There's a second verse I want us to talk about too. It says this, because without communication, this does not happen. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. This talking is a way that you become sharper. It's a way that you become more prepared for what's going on. It's a way you find out more about yourself, more about them. But if this doesn't happen, then you're not going to grow. Your friendship's not going to grow. Your dating relationship's not going to grow. Your relationship between you and your parents is going to stay still if you're not communicating. Because sometimes I tell you, sometimes I meet with youth in my office and they're having trouble with their parents, and they're like, they just do that, and they just don't know. They just don't know how angry that makes me. They don't know, yada, yada, yada. And then I want to sit there and I go, okay, just for anyone who's ever in that situation, if you don't tell them, they won't know. Girls, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Whenever you date a guy, and you sit there and there's going to come a point where he's going to do something that you thought, man, you should have done something else. I had something completely different that thought that you should do. Girls, I'm going to go ahead and let you know a secret. If you don't let us know, we ain't going to know. We do not have the ability. A lot of y'all have the ability. It's amazing, actually. It's God-given. The ability to look at a situation, look at this, and just go, okay, this is what should happen. You know, you go, oh, this is what he should do, this is what she should do. Guys don't do that. Guys look at a situation, and their head, this is the conversation going on in their head. Chris, where are you at? Hit me up. Let's hear it.
Crickets.
That's it. Right? They're not thinking about that situation. But without communication, with you and your parents, with you and your girlfriend or boyfriend, you and your friend, you're never going to know. I'm so mad at you because you didn't do this or that. You didn't give me the right thing. What was I supposed to get? I don't know. Right? You got to communicate. All right? And these are talking about things like struggles. A lot of no raise your hands. What do you think about? How many of you struggle with talking about your problems? Right? You have friends that are really willing to sit there and listen to you, but you have trouble talking about it. Maybe ideas, maybe solutions to things, maybe your pet peeves, whatever. You need to be talking. And there's a second critical part to this, and it's this: honesty in the communication. All right? This is key. Because if you don't do honesty, it doesn't really matter what you do with the rest of it. Because if you come up to me, if I go to a doctor, right? If I go to a doctor and I'm meeting him because I'm not feeling well, and I walk in and the doctor's like, okay, so tell me what's ailing you, son. And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm good, actually. Yeah, I feel good, right? That was a little embarrassing. I wish I could go a little higher on that. But if I tell a doctor I'm fine, then is that doctor going to be able to help me? No. No. Right? Or better yet, if I tell the doctor, like, my leg hurts, and I go in and I'm like, oh, my arm, it hurts a little bit, and check it out, and like, oh, there's nothing wrong with your arm. Okay, well, I'm good, bye. Right? A lot of us do this in our relationships, our friendships, our date. We go, someone comes up and they're like, how was your day? And your day was horrible. You failed a test. You sat in gum. You sit there. You had, you spilled something on your shirt and you didn't know. And then you had people make fun of you. And then you lost your notes to a test. And then at the end of the day, you're like, I would rather just sit there and scream out loud. And someone's like, well, how was your day? And you're like, oh, it's great. Good. I'm fine. Or mom and dad come in like, was school good today? I hope that's your dad. They come in and you're like, that's your mom, all right. But you come in and it's like, so how was it? And you're like, oh, it was fine. And it's like, how? It was horrible. You aren't going to get any better. Your relationship isn't going to grow. Your friendship isn't going to get better in this. It's not going to be a healthy relationship if the communicating you're doing is not true. If you're not being honest. Our verse for this is this. It says, an open rebuke is better than hidden love. Wounds from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy. Okay? So you might be, that's weird, getting kisses from an enemy. It's different time. Basically what it's saying is this. If you're my friend, and I have an issue that's going on, it's better for you to come up and be like, okay, Jack, you keep, that toupee looks awful. It does. I'm a friend. I'm here for you. I'm not wearing one, by the way. You come up to, or I'll bet you a story from when I used to work at a camp. Me and Teresa worked at a camp together. It's where a lot of our friendship was built. And there was a skit where I was a cruise director, a dance director for a cruise ship. It's weird. Anyway, I had a suit that I put on. I never looked in the mirror when I put on this suit. It was it was kind of like a spandex suit. It was a full body spandex with frills suit, okay? And this thing was not a size that fit people of my girth. Now, I grabbed it because I was like, oh, this will be fine. I put it all on. And I go out there. A whole summer goes by of me once a week, no, not once a week, once a day, every morning in my skit in this outfit. Now, I don't look at pictures. I don't look in the mirror. It's not anything. And we get to the end of the summer, and Teresa finally comes up to me and she goes, Jack, that was horrible. That you looked like stuffed sausage. It was bad. It was like you packed a pillow with just lard and you flung it up there, and just very, very harsh words. And I was like, but first off, I was like, ow. And then the second thing I was like, this is week 10. I've been wearing it since week 1. What? And then I saw pictures and I was like, oh no, this isn't good. Not good. There's still pictures out there, but you won't find them from me. But it was one of those things that, like, this honesty, everyone, how did it go? They were like, you did great. Oh, great. They didn't say, you look like a pig up there. Come on. But would that have been better for me? Yeah, it would have been better for the kids too. Everyone's eyes wouldn't have got hurt, right? It would have been much better, but it wasn't said to me. Honesty coming from your friends is better than someone just butting you up and lying to you. You got to be honest if you want to have a healthy relationship, okay? We're going to keep going on. Self-sacrifice. You want a healthy relationship, you're in a healthy relationship, there's got to be some sacrifice. So putting someone else's need in front of yours, okay? Our verse for this comes from Proverbs 17:17. Says this. It says, a friend is always loyal and a brother is born to help in the time of need. Kind of banking off what we just talked about, right? That if there's something that a friend is doing that is not helpful for the friend, are you being, I know I'm using friend a lot, I'm sorry. Are you being a good friend by letting it just go on and not talk to him? Or are you being a bad friend by doing that? That's rhetorical, right? We all know that we sit there and there's times, right, that we don't want to get into it. They would rather just let Jack look for 10 weeks and go say, hey man, You either need to drop 50 pounds or the suit. Either one. Right? There's some sacrifice in that. How many of you have ever been punished by parents? Right? Yeah, all of us, you know. Did you know that your parents punishing you is actually them self-sacrificing? Them doing something that they don't want to do. Now, you maybe said, my dad's like, he loves it when you get punished. He's like, go to your room. Or your mom's like that. Either one. I don't know. Deep voice. But you may be like, no. No parent wants to get their child angry at them. No parent wants their child to be upset. That's not a desire for them. But you know what else? No parent wants their child going down the wrong path. No parent wants their child making poor decisions. So what they do is they sacrifice the calmness of the home. They sacrifice maybe the niceness of their rides whenever you're with you. It's not awkward. They're sacrificing these things so that you can be better. If you have a friend who is like they only have you as a friend because it helps them, it's not a great friend. It's not a healthy relationship. You gotta have that willingness to put what's easy for you, what you want the most, aside for what's best for them. This works for friendships, this works for dating, this works for marriage. It's very important for marriage, this works for parents and kids. It works for all of it. If you're not willing to do what is right, even though it's not what is seemingly easiest or what's best for you, then your relationship's not going to be healthy. You know, if you have that friend who goes, okay, you know what? You've been staying up late, really late, a lot. And this is not pointing into one person, but I hear about this a lot, right? That you have someone who's your friend staying up 2 or 3 in the morning playing video games. We'll just attack the video games for a moment. The video games. He's up 2 to 3. His school grades are getting worse. He's ornery because he hasn't slept. You know, he's not doing well. He looks a little pale. He looks a lot pale, right? As a friend, for you to step up and say, hey, you're not being healthy right now. It's not easy for you. It's not going to be nice. It's not going to be fun. It's not fun to tell anybody, hey, you look like a vampire. Go outside. Take a nap. Do something, right? It's not, and I'm not saying do it like that, but you just say, if your relationship, whatever it is, if you're not willing to do what's best for them over what's easiest or what's best for you, it's not going to be a healthy relationship. Last one. Okay? Somewhat of a quick talk. Last one is this. Are you bringing them closer to Jesus? Like, is this relationship, a healthy relationship, any healthy relationship, brings you closer to God? Our verse for this is this right here. It says, don't befriend angry people or associate with hot-tempered people, or you will learn to be like them and endanger your soul. Maybe like, what does it have to do with being close to Jesus? Back to the very first verse. How the people you surround yourself with are going to guide you towards a goal of some sort. Are they taking you closer to Jesus, or are they taking you further away? And this is one that we kind of know. It's what how do you really do that? You kind of know. Whatever your friend group is doing, whatever they're talking about, whatever they're thinking is important, it's going to affect you. So here's my question I want to end with tonight for you. And actually, I want the band to go ahead and start walking up because I don't want us to go too far over. But this is my question for you. Are you in healthy relationships? Are you participating in healthy relationships with friends, with dating relationships? Are they healthy? Do they meet these criteria? Are they something that's bringing you closer to God? Are they good communication going on? Are they good communication? That's great English. You know, are they doing that? And the second thing is this, are you a friend that someone would look at you and they would say, these things about you. That, oh, you are a person who produces good, healthy relationships. Or are you someone who's bringing people away from Christ? Are you yourself a part of the group that we often talk about with leading people away? So during this last song, I want you to just think about that. What part are you in? What group are you aligned with right now? Are you bringing people closer? Are you building? Are you being a good friend? Are you doing all these things? Or are you not? Will you bow your heads with me? Father God, I thank you for today. And I thank you for all these awesome youth in here, God. God, I pray for everyone's relationship. I pray, God, that their relationships with their parents, with their significant others, with just, God, with anybody and everybody, that they be healthy ones. That they have good communication, that they be self-sacrificing, that bring people closer to you. God, I pray that if we are on that side of things that we're not actually bringing people closer to Christ, God, I pray that you just give us the strength to stand up and say, God, no more. I will not do that anymore. I will not bring people away from you, but I want to bring people close to you. God, I pray for those who are struggling with friendships and relationships right now that, God, if getting out of a friendship or relationship is what's needed, then you do it. God, I pray that you just move in all of us, that everything we do and every person we involve ourselves with makes us healthier and makes us closer to you. In your name, Lord Jesus, I pray. Amen.